What's up, everybody? Welcome back yet again. You just keep on coming back for another edition of the Dirty and Driven Podcast. My name is James Deviney. I'm your host. This is the show where our goal is to bring people to the blue-collar world, teach them how to kick ass. That's right. We want to gain, train, and retain people in the blue-collar trades, more specifically the construction trades, because that's what we talk about on this show. We have a labor shortage. We have a workforce shortage, if you didn't know that. And I believe that it can be easily solved if we just make this an industry that is worth working in. And it is, but it can always be better. If you're new here, we have two episode types. This is our Tuesday episode, joined today by my co-host, Mr. Wiggity Casey D.
Gang.
Some call him the talent. We have our Friday shows where we have a guest on or multiple that talk about their lives and their experience and the shit that they've gone through. And those are also great. So anyways, guys, welcome aboard if you're new here. If you're not new here, welcome back. We love you all. The support you guys have shown us lately has been absolutely incredible. And I'm just so grateful for that. Before we get rolling, I just wanted to say a couple things worth mentioning. One, if you want a free sticker, hit us up, DM us, email us, dirtyandriven@gmail.com. DM us on Instagram @dirtyandriven. That's all in the show notes too, if you forget. Also, guys, some of you hit me up and said, hey, how can I support the show? I love what you're doing. Really love the show. Thank you, by the way. How do I support you? Well, for one, I just put on our Linktree bio a little thing that says support the mission /tip jar. If you want to just put $1 in there, $5 in there, $10, $20, $1,000.
Cha-ching.
Then it'd be much appreciated. Seriously, we don't get paid for this show. We spend a lot of money on the show. We just bought over $5,000 worth of equipment, and that bill is still growing as we slowly piece together our studio. So we do that just because we want to add value to people's lives, and we love doing it. And that's really it. So if that's something you feel led to do, then we'd appreciate it. Also, we're going to slowly start rolling out some merch on our website, dirtyandriven.com. And if you want a t-shirt preliminarily, hit me up. Just DM me. Say, hey, I want a shirt. And I'll get you one sold, baby. Anyways, that's enough of that bullshit. Casey, what's up, man?
How are you?
I'm good.
Whenever you said preliminary, you kind of stumbled through that like old Fetterman.
Well, I'm not a
6'8" guy wearing a hoodie.
Well, I'm not like, I'm kind of like Moses. You know, God came to Moses and he said, I want you to lead these people. And Moses said, but I can't talk. God said, I don't care.
Good save.
Yeah.
Doing good, man.
I just don't have a beard like Moses.
You can grow it out, man.
Well,
you need to grow a beard instead of the hair.
No, man. I mean, I would like to grow a beard, but all I can grow is this hair. All I can grow is hair everywhere on my body except for a beard or a mustache.
It'll happen. When you start losing hair, then you'll start growing it on your face. Trust me.
Well,
that's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Such is life.
Such is life. So that leads us to today's topic that we're talking about today.
Damn, right in there?
Yeah, dude. So we're talking about how to grow your hair back.
I was going to say,
how to lose 30 pounds in a week. What other blue collar shit? How to liven up your tattoos. And what was the other one? Damn, I stumped you. All right. Well, that's not actually what we're talking about. But
I was looking at the notes and you totally went off script. So,
well, it's like we said before the show started. We have the show notes, but
you had listed here on the template 2 to 3 minutes of banter And I think we normally go, you need to add a 0 to each
2
one
to
of
30 minutes of
Yeah,
banter.
yeah.
Well, this is a template from somebody else's podcast that they gave me. So
Damn, dude, you could at least, all you
Dude.
got to do in there is just change, delete, and or add,
2 to 30 minutes.
yeah, numeral, just change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, which that reminds me one time. Let me tell you a story. You ready?
Yeah.
I was going to No Other Choice, NOC, over there,
Yeah.
12 miles to the west of us.
That's a college, by the way.
And I was in English class. I was doing what I could to get by, man. And we had to write a paper on, I don't even know what the topic was. We could pick a topic, but it had to be so many words. But it was a pretty legit, not a book, but just pretty legit story. So, of course, like me, I waited till the last second because I've never been a scholar, right?
Scholar.
But I've been innovative on coming up with ideas.
Innovator.
So this is back when Snoop Dogg had the Murder Was a Case That They Gave Me album.
Snoop D-O-G-G.
Murder Was a Case That They Gave Me. And he had this song called Murder Was a Case. And it starts out, as I look up at the sky, teardrops in my eye, my body temperature falls. I'm shaking and I'm breaking, trying to save the dog. Pumping on my chest and I'm screaming. I start screaming, damn, I see demons. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? I'm too young, my boo was about to have my baby. So it's
That
this
definitely
whole,
sounded more like Cypress Hill, but yeah.
no, I think they got their stuff, if anything, from Snoop because they.
No, I'm just saying the way you were doing it.
So this whole, it's a story of him thinking he died and he came back and they're pumping on his chest and all this stuff. Well, with my English essay that I had to write, I took the whole story, the lyrics of that, and just like your template that you should have done and added a 0 to the time, I took that whole rap and I made it sentences, then paragraphs for the whole story. I ended up getting like a C+ or something. I made the whole story from Murder Was a Case That They Gave Me.
Dude, I actually did something very similar.
Yeah.
You know the song Shooting Star by
Yeah.
Bad
You
Company?
know that you-
So we had to write a shooting star too about write a short story about something in my college. I was at NOC too doing a college English class, and so I literally took that song. I didn't copy it word for word, but I literally just wrote out a short story of that song about Johnny was a schoolboy that learned his first Beatles song, got a guitar, blah blah blah, left his mom. And said, "Don't cry, mama, just smile, wave goodbye." And then, he ended up becoming a huge star and then killed himself by swallowing a bunch of sleeping pills and whiskey. And I got a pretty good grade on that essay.
There's a lot of songs like that to where somebody, they're not going to be anybody, then they become somebody. And unfortunately, in that song, he didn't see that he had a reason to live, which that leads us to our topic today.
Wow.
Damn, what a
That's
transition,
the
James.
fastest we've actually ever gotten into our topic before.
We don't have to go in there yet.
Wow, dude.
We can dip our toe into it.
Well, hey, man, I do want to give this little update. So a couple months ago, weeks ago, some point, I probably said a few months back, we were talking about our goals. And just in full transparency on this show, I'm not going to be the kind of guy, you hear your podcast do this, they say, I'm going to do this goal, I'm going to do this thing, and then they don't do it, right? Well, or at least you never hear an update. So I just want to give an update. So I had 3 big endurance goals this year, right? I had run a marathon, which I already did, do a triathlon, and then I'm going to do a 4x4x48 Thanksgiving. Well, that triathlon I was supposed to run was supposed to be next week. And unfortunately, I had to pull out of that race. And I wanted to be transparent about that. Now, the reason I did is because for the last 5 weeks, going on 6 weeks since I actually got sick, I got really sick. And I didn't eat for 3 weeks. I just could not eat. My body could not handle food. I went to the ER a couple times, and it was a bad deal. And that was prime training time for the marathon or for the triathlon. So I just decided it was in my body's best interest to pull back, not go so hard, especially because I just ran the marathon because I got sick about a week and a half, 2 weeks after the marathon, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So I just wanted to own my my thing there and say that's a goal I failed. I'm not going to do a triathlon this year. Still going to go hard on that 4x4x48. But basically starting back at square one on my own health and fitness.
Surely there's other triathlons.
I'm sure there are, but I was going to do that one with my buddy. And
we could do a triathlon right now. We could
do it right now.
There's a pond down there at Standing Bear. We can go swim in that.
Swim.
We could jog down to it, then swim, and then knock somebody off their bike and ride the bike back.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
That
It'd be a tweaker's like little BMX bike, but yeah.
And you got it in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have not failed.
I'm not saying that I'm not going to do one this year. It's just I had to cancel the one that was coming up. I don't know if I'm going to re-sign up for one now or not, or if I just want to focus on that November big 4x4x48 goal. I'm not sure yet. I'm still kind of contemplating. I ran, and like I said, I've got to basically start over as far as both my nutrition, because my goal was to hit 175 pounds by basically the beginning of May, which I hit. I hit that goal. I was
175 pound squat or what?
No, like my weight. And I was wanting to gain weight, and because I was real scrawny. And
Start hanging out with me, dude.
well, I have been
More than this.
but yeah. So I've been trying. I finally got that weight up, and then I got sicker than shit, dude, and lost all of it back. So square one, I went and ran a 5K today, and it was like turtle speed. So that's just full transparency in my life. Unmet goal. And that sucks, but it was for once in my life I looked at it and said, "Man, I need to pull back for a minute." So normally I'd just say, "Fuck it, we ball," but I don't know. Right now I'm just at a point where I was literally the sickest I've ever been, and I don't want to revert back to that at this moment in time. Maybe later this year. So full transparency.
Being around people like you. What do you mean, you people?
Yeah, what do you mean, you people?
I just can't gain weight. That for people like me that are fat bastards that have no problem gaining weight, you know what I mean? That's a good problem to have.
Well,
and the same, you got a lot of hair. My wife, man, I got so much hair in her. I mean, she's got a full head of hair, and that's a good problem to have. And I'm on the opposite end of, dude, I wish I had a couple strands of those hairs in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but here's my counter argument to a lot of those people of the weight thing, not necessarily the hair thing. The hair thing, you know, my mentality on this, and I was talking to a girl that kind of gave me a trim a couple of months ago, because if you haven't seen me, if you don't know what I look like, I've got some hippie hair right now down to my shoulders, because I've always wanted to do that, because I've always wanted to be a rock star. I'm in a rock band. It works out. I don't really give a shit what work or anybody like that thinks. I just want to be who I am. But my counter argument to the gaining weight thing, you know, dude, whenever you are really scrawny and you're doing everything you can to gain weight, like you're eating an insane amount of food. Good. I mean, I've done a dirty bulk before. And what did that really result in? It resulted in me being 210 pounds of just
Hell
fat.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. And I mean, I hit 210 pounds. I wanted to play the O-line in high school, and I hit the goal, but it was fat. It was miserable. I did it in a short period of time. It was like I was literally drinking 6 protein shakes a day, basically living on the toilet, and it just wasn't good. I mean, it was fast food. It just wasn't. If I did it again, like I did back then it just wouldn't be healthy. But like I want to put weight on to just get stronger. I'm not going for just overall mass. I'm going like at that point I was going for mass. At this point I want to put on this weight and muscle, and that's really hard for me to do. And whenever you're scrawny and you look in the mirror, it's just as bad as like if you're overweight and you look in the mirror and you're like, dang, dude, I just wish I could lose weight. It's just tough, especially when you are giving it your all. Now, if you're a fat fuck and you're not doing anything to lose weight and you're just like, well, damn, I can't keep weight off, but you're not making any effort at all, well, you know, then it's not quite as like terrible on yourself. But whenever you're giving it your all and you're doing every single thing you can, and you're still not getting the results you want, that's when it's like, God dang, dude, this just pisses me off. So that's why it was so frustrating for me. It's like I finally hit that weight goal of 175. I was starting to finally fill out again, and then boom, I got sick and couldn't eat for a few weeks.
Increase your calorie intake, even if it's not the cleanest. Then you'll be able to start lifting more. Then you'll be able to gain muscle mass. Muscle, we know, weighs more than fat. And yeah, you're not going to be the lean. It's not going to be a lean muscle gain.
I mean, I eat a lot of calories. I mean, I eat 4,000 calories a day.
Dude, I had that for breakfast.
Bullshit. You know, I start my day with 6 eggs, 2 pieces of bacon, and then lunch I usually eat about 10 ounces of beef, ground beef, steak, or chicken, and then I'll usually eat a bunch of veggies and olive oil, stuff like that. And then dinner, I usually drink a big fruit shake, full of carbs and protein, creatine, put a bunch of stuff in that shake. And then for dinner, I'll usually make, whatever it ends up being, but typically, sometimes it's like a 16 ounce steak, 1 pound of meat and 2 potatoes, and it's a shitload of food, dude. I'm eating a lot.
Does your steak have any marbling in it?
I usually buy like a KC strip is what I try to eat. So it's like a lean steak with that big rim of fat around it.
Yeah, you probably trim the fat or don't even eat it.
No, dude, the fat's the best part. That's why I love those KC strips.
You need to, everything that you said, you need to deep fry it or fry it somewhat in some lard.
I cook it in beef tallow or I cook it in ghee.
Ichni sonchi? What's ghee?
It's clarified butter.
Yeah, gay.
Gay. It's gay.
Dude.
I cook it in butter. I cook everything in butter. How about that?
Lard.
Like
I
that?
can't believe it's not butter. You need to do that, and you need to add gravy to every single one. Anything is better with gravy. You'll start putting on the LBs. Start drinking some pop, too, before you go to sleep.
Start drinking some pop every night.
Some real syrupy stuff.
Yeah. Just drink maple syrup.
Yeah, dude. Chocolate milk.
I did that whenever I was running my marathon. Somebody gave me a maple syrup stick. And it was pretty good, actually. I just drank straight syrup.
I've used maple syrup before on steaks, like a very minimal on my marinade.
Yeah, I've done that, dude. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to sweet tooth it up too much.
Yeah, just a little. I'm more of a savory steak, but on pulled pork, that's not bad.
One trick that I've done to save money on the beef prices, because I'm not anti-beef by any means. I love cooking.
Eat beef.
But I'll buy a roast. I'll look at the roast like I would looking for a steak, and I'll eyeball that bad boy for marbling, because a lot of times it has some good fat all around. Yeah. But I'll look for good consistent fat all around this big ass roast beef that's maybe $15 for a big old bad boy. I'll buy it. I'll take it home, and then I'll either slice it down to a nice 3/4 1 inch thickness for steaks, or I'll cube it maybe like a 2 inch by 2 inch by 2 inch. Do all of them 2 inch squares.
Kebab it.
Cubes. But then I'll still do my seasoning and my like little 10 or 15 minute marinade and throw those bad boys on the grill. And granted, not as tender because you're not slow cooking it for a long time, but damn, dude, cost savings and a ton of meat.
I do that too. I'll buy it and just cut it myself. I bought that. I bought a big beef roast the other day, and I buy all grass-fed beef. I know that you freaking hate whenever I say that, but that's what I enjoy.
No, I don't hate that. I never have.
Oh, you were mocking me a couple episodes ago. I was talking about my steak, and you were like, grass-fed. I was like, yeah. That's what I like. Nah. And
anything that's closer to the natural earth.
I did that. Yeah. I cut it into a couple steaks, and it's good stuff doing it that way, and it's cheaper. Dude, get this. I went to not a meat market, but another business in town here that's kind of a boutique business known for.
Was it the Blue Oyster Club?
Blue Oyster Club?
You ever heard of that?
Uh-uh.
It was on Police Academy. That's where the officers would accidentally walk in, and it was the gay nightclub. You
Oh, yeah, I remember
You said
that.
you went
Okay,
to the
yeah.
meat market. Each time that they'd open the door to the Blue Oyster, right when they'd open the door, you'd hear, "Da-da-da-da-da-da," and they'd grab a hold of one of the police officers and start dancing with them.
Dude, I forgot about that. That's a funny movie.
They were the best till you got
No.
to 3 or 4 and they went to Moscow. Then it got a little weird.
There was I just watched number 1, but anytime I see a series that has like 5 or 6 movies, it's like I know that the first one's great, and then after that they just go downhill.
Yeah.
But I went into one. I bought 5 steaks today for Father's Day. We're recording on the Saturday before Father's Day, and it was $120 for 5 steaks, uncooked, raw. Could not believe that.
You wouldn't want it cooked though.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you go to a restaurant and you order 5 steaks, like, you'd hope to
Yeah.
get out of there. You know, it used to be like, $20-$25 steak. You get it. Shit, man. $120 for 5 steaks raw. I was like, damn. Now, they're good quality, thick, meaty steaks, but damn. That was a lot of money.
Tell you what, man, whenever you're shopping for steaks, you got to have a good eye shopping for
yeah.
meat. I mean, really, it's the perfect marbling and a lot of that stuff. You can tell when it's freshly just butchered.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, you can literally see the heartbeat in the steaks, how red and just juicy those bad
Yeah.
boys are. And it could even be a sirloin cut, but man, if it just has that perfect texture and the perfect marbling, man, those things you could pretty much cut with a fork.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I bet. My buddy Nick, we butchered a cow.
Anyway, you and Nick used to go put chokeholds on cattle. And I
Yeah.
got a question about that. Why don't they legalize cow hunting? To where you go set up a stand, and hang out and call them in.
We go has cow hunting?
Serious? Yeah, dude.
Murr.
I mean, what's any different than?
I mean, where I hunt, you don't have to call them in. They just come fuck up your hunt. There's been times where I'm like, I want to shoot one of these bastards so bad,
start honking your horn or just drive up with a white flatbed truck with a feeder on the back.
Yeah.
You don't even have to honk the horn.
Just call them in. To call them in, you're just shaking a thing of dog food or something.
Dude, whenever I was
Replicate the feed
doing all my
pellets.
spraying on the road, there was a lot of pretty much landowners. I'd have to get into their fields to get a block valve sites. And anytime I'd get up and open the gate and go through, man, those cows, they were just sprinting because my truck, white truck, spray rig in the back, it looks like a feeder, dude. They were always up my ass.
It's funny. Yeah. Yeah, man. But me and Nick, we used to, we split a cow one time that he raised that was 100% grass fed, grass finished, no antibiotic, none of that. And you talk about steaks you cut with a freaking fork, dude.
Yeah.
Those are still the best steaks I ever had. So we'll see how these ones are tomorrow.
Well, and there's something to be said about, during this, I ain't going to do it. I ain't going to go political, but during the COVID deal, and they shut down a lot of the slaughterhouses, the mass slaughterhouses,
Yeah.
because of supposed COVID. I did it just a little bit. That's where a lot of the mom and pop meat markets,
Yeah.
they got so far behind because everybody started doing their beef there. And we started getting ours there, man. And you talking about fresh. I mean,
Oh, it's way
literally the
better.
person dropped off the cow, I don't know how long to hang it for, but a big difference, man. Just
Yeah.
going to the local instead of stuff, who knows what they shoot up into it to put on the shelves.
Oh, it's way better. I go to the meat market or the farmer's market. I went to that this morning here in town, which our farmer's market, that's not like your LA farmer's market or your, big city. It is a real farm. I mean, it's the actual farmers out there selling vegetables and
Yeah.
eggs and beef. And yeah, dude, I'll get stuff there too.
If shit ever hits the fan, I ain't going there. But if it ever hits the fan, those are the people you're gonna have to rely on. If you don't have your own garden and don't produce your own,
Oh, blue collar people, dude.
that's
Again,
it, dude.
blue collar people.
So you need to.
If shit hits the fan, your freaking LA accountant, your music theory professor, your psychology guy, your philosophies of life professor ain't going to come to save you.
Well, yeah. So you need to befriend your neighbors. I'm glad where I'm at, but I'm, out in Osage County, and dude, and I'm right in the heart of it. So
No hate on accountants, by the way.
no.
I don't I don't always get along with accountants, but
Stereotype.
But I need them.
I'm sure there's some out there that have, cattle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't hate accountants, but I don't understand their work and what they do, and it frustrates me. So and they don't always
you
understand the work that I do.
You obviously don't
it frustrates
understand
them.
numbers because you couldn't put a 0 on your little template here.
Shut up, Casey. Well, let's get to the topic, man. I think it's a good one. I've had a lot of conversations in the DMs about this week. So June is Men's Mental Health Month, and that's something that's not talked about a lot, especially among men. I think the women have kind of figured it out, and they talk about their mental health a little bit more, and they try to get through it. Some of them, most of them, but man, the men, we got a lot of work to do. Most of us have been taught that it's not okay to talk about, not okay to do it, but we're going to talk about this in a practical way. We're not talking about this in a sunshine and rainbows way, okay? We're going to talk about this in a way that a blue-collar guy needs to hear it, not a way that a psychiatrist would explain it to you or some preppy white girl on Instagram. We're talking about real stuff, all right? Because everyone struggles with shit. I know I got my demons. Casey, I'm sure you got some demons. We all do. Okay, so first of all, I just have to say, you're not alone, okay? We all have problems. Every single one of us. The funniest guy in the room, the guy that you think has his shit together, that's so happy that you see him raising his hands at church for worship, always has a big smile on his face, always happy. That dude fights demons too. The guy that's always cracking jokes, that guy's got demons. The guy that is a very talented person, operator, musician, businessman, has nice toys, has nice cars, they got their demons. Everybody has their demons. Everybody deals with struggle of, is this the right path I'm on? Is this the life I want to live? Am I doing the right thing? Am I going to make it out of this financial trouble I'm in? Does my wife hate me? Why is this person so mean to me? What am I doing wrong? Am I good enough? That's stuff we struggle with. And I've had a lot of these conversations with you guys in the DMs in the last week because I posted a deal on Instagram, which I'm going to start posting every Wednesday, a mental health post, kind of a midweek pick-me-up, if you will. And it's going to be practical. It's going to be stuff that we can use, but that opened up a lot of conversations with a lot of people. And the reason I'm really passionate about this too is because I post that, now you guys are in my DMs and you're saying, hey man, I've got these issues and I'm there for them, and they're there for me. Okay, this dirty and driven community we have is a tight-knit group. Okay, the people that support this show, you guys are absolutely amazing, and I know that we all have each other's backs. Okay, the reason I'm so passionate about this is because construction is one of the top industries for people to commit suicide in. You know how many people a day do you think die by job site incidences in the country, in America?
Just incidents or
incidents,
suicide?
not suicide, incidents.
In the U.S.?
In the U.S. A day.
500.
No. Like 5 to 8 average a day.
Nah, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think so. How many do you think die by suicide a day?
Is this blue collar? I mean, I'm not
Blue
trying
collar,
to...
just the construction industry.
Construction? Same number.
Double.
Really? 1,000?
What?
1,000 or 10?
No, 5. It's 5 to
I said 500, dude.
I'm saying double of what?
Of your 5?
Of my 5 to 7, right?
All right.
So it's like 10 to 15.
Well, good. Well, thank Lord
Not
Jesus.
good. How is
Hold
that
on.
good?
Hold on.
Holy shit.
Now, hold on. Thank you, Lord Jesus, that it wasn't 1,000 people a day.
Yeah.
That's actually good news, man. I'm glad that I was overshooting it bad.
That's kind of like whenever you fail your test and you go to your mom and you're like, or you get like a C and you go to your mom and you're like, well, I thought I was going to fail my test. It's like, all right, I thought I failed my test. Oh my gosh. Oh, you really failed. Oh, well. But hey, I didn't fail. I got a C.
That's the deal, man. I always look at the optimistic route. So
Okay. Well, that was
still 10. Still 10.
I mean, 10 to 15
too many.
people, that's
Too many.
a lot. I mean, and that's one of the highest industries. It kind of it's a gray line between construction and agriculture of who does it more. So, yeah, it's a bad deal, man. But the reason I like to talk about this, so I did a safety meeting. And this is a practical thing that you as a company can do, or you as a leader can do. If you're in a leadership role in a company, management role, or you own your own company, do a safety talk about this just quarterly. Do one per quarter. So I started doing this this year. I've done one so far, and I'm actually going to do another one this upcoming Monday after this show. By the time this show airs, it should have already happened. Last time I did it, I had multiple people come up to me, employees, and say, hey, can I talk to you? Hey, I've been going through this shit. This has been going on. That's been going on. I'm not going to talk about their problems and who it is, but they told me real stuff of what's going on. People that would never have come to me and done that, but now I opened up the conversation and said, hey, your mental health matters. And they came up to me and they said, hey, I've got these issues going on and I want help. How can you help me? So that's why this is so important, because as a guy, I was always taught, suck it up. I was always taught, just hold it in, don't let it out. And a lot of dudes are like that, right? Most of us have been taught that. And especially from the old school generation of your feelings don't matter. But man, it's different now. It's all right to talk about this stuff. Because again, we all struggle with stuff. Nobody's alone in that. But I think now more than ever, especially with the rise of social media and the lack of strong men in this world, I've talked about how I feel about weak men. A lot of guys grew up with no father figure. They grew up with no one to truly pour into them the way that they should. And they never learned how to handle their emotions, which is a bad deal. And it's kind of crazy. So you look back, like when you're a kid, you're happy and excited, right? About everything. I mean, I was. Sure you were. You're excited about things. You're enthusiastic about things. You're positive. You're optimistic. For whatever reason, as we become adults, we trade our excitement and our enthusiasm and our positivity for dread and worry. And we worry about everything. We worry about our finances. We worry about our relationships. We worry about our kids. We worry about whether or not we're going to have a job tomorrow. We worry about the economy. We worry about politics. We worry about how much milk costs at the grocery store. We worry about everything instead of looking at the positive stuff, and it wears you down. I mean, I know it depresses me, that type of stuff. And I've struggled with some stuff mentally. And whenever you have all those other things coming at you, you just worry. And most people, if they're hitting a bad slump, what really causes that bad depression or other issues like that, that bad slump hits, especially because what's the old saying, Casey? When it rains, it pours, right?
yeah, dude, you didn't give me.
I ain't giving you nothing.
10 billion sayings out there, and I could. Sure, yeah. When it rains, it pours.
When it rains, it pours, right? Yeah.
Shit hit the fan.
Yeah, shit hits the fan. Yeah. When it rains, it pours, and I know that that's true in my life. Of like when one bad thing happens, holy crap, it all just compounds. Well, the reason it compounds a lot of times is because that one little thing happens, and you start beating yourself up about it. And then something else happens. You start beating yourself up about it. Then something else happens. You're like, fuck my life. And then something else happens. You're like, dude, I can't handle this. And then something else happens. And it just all comes down on you at once to where it impairs your judgment. And you start blowing up on people. You start treating your loved ones, your coworkers like shit because you're mad and you're taking it out on them. And that's not good. But if you look at things optimistically, you have the power to change that doubt and worry. Okay, a lot of us doubt and worry because that's what society tells us to do, or because we just truly don't know any better. So that kind of leads to my first point. If you're in a bad mental health slump, then you have to control what you are able to control. All right, you can't control a lot of these things that are going on around you. You may not be able to control that your best friend got in a car wreck. and then some kid broke the window of your house, and then something else happened, and you can't control all that. But you can control the things that are directly around you, okay? You can control what you intake. You can control how much water you drink. You can control how much alcohol you drink. You can control factors like that. You can control the food you're eating. You can control a lot of things. If you're trying to live in the bottom of the bottle whenever you're at a slump, that's a bad... Casey just opened a beers. I'm making that point.
As you said, bottom of the bottle.
Yeah. If you're at that point, man, it's not good to be doing all that. If you're living trying to just drown your sorrows in alcohol, you can control that. Okay, you can control the saying, hey, I'm not going to do that because it's not helping you. You can control how much water you drink to nourish your body. You control the kind of food you're eating. You can control the fact that you haven't exercised in months, but you're going to go out and you're going to walk without your phone, without anything for a few months. You can control what you read, what you watch, what kind of social media you're looking at. You can control a lot of this shit that actually has a negative value on you, even though you may not realize it. Like if you're like, whenever I'm depressed, dude, TV's off. I'm off social media. I don't even hardly listen to podcasts, anything like that, even positive ones. I want to be in silence. And sometimes I need to listen to something positive. I need to listen to some music, but I have to watch what kind of music I'm listening to because there's a lot of depressing ass music out there. But you can control the things that you're consuming and you're putting in your body. You can control who you're hanging around with. If maybe it's a person that's making you depressed. Maybe it's a family member. Dude, I've had to literally cut family members out of my life because they are negative people that cause me to be a bad person because they just anger me so much. And that sucks, dude. But when you get rid of that, you get a lot happier over time once you kind of recover from that. So if you're in a slump, do that. But that's kind of like one point. You have the power to change your situation. That is what I'm getting at, okay? A lot of people want to play the victim anymore, especially in today's culture. You post on social media, oh no, this happened. Oh no, that happened. And people give you likes and they'll give you attention. And oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Oh, and you like it. You feel good for just a minute. You get that dopamine rush with a lot of likes and people hitting you up and oh my gosh, are you okay? People checking in on you. People care about you for an hour. And you get that. And it feels good. But then what next? Okay, you get that dopamine high for a minute and then what next? Then you just wait for the next time that you can post on Facebook and get it again. Dude, what you're doing whenever you do that is you're taking a storyline that you were given. You're taking the storyline that, hey man, your back's messed up. You're never going to be able to work again. Hey man, you cut off a piece of your finger. You're never going to play guitar again. Hey, you're sick. You've got 6 months to live. Hey, your kid was born with a disability. They're never going to graduate high school. Hey, your wife's been cheating on you. Your relationship's over. You take these, and we all do this. We take these storylines and we make them who we are. But we can actually write our own storylines. You can say, you know what? Fuck you, Mr. Doctor. I'm going to heal this back injury. And I'm going to go compete in some crazy weightlifting contest. I'm going to beat this cancer and I'm not going to die in 6 months. You know what? My wife cheated on me because I was being a shitty husband. And I'm going to reverse that course. I'm going to change it. And we're going to have a stronger relationship than we ever had before.
If my wife ever cheated on me, she would never get a second chance. But you're
a lot of people are like that.
Hey, you're a saint that you're gonna try to get your shit together and give her attention.
Well,
but
Casey,
hey,
that's not what we're talking about. I just want to say.
Yeah, but let me tell you something, dude. My wife and I have this agreement, and it's as tight as all can be. If I hold my hand up here, this is how much we love each other, right?
Yeah.
I'm holding my other hand up equally as high. This is how much we trust each other.
Yeah.
The trust and love is so great. I've been married to her, since 06. Been married to her that long. trust is so huge, and we can't imagine. We hear about it not daily, but quite a bit about people that we know to where they're in nefarious relationships outside of, and I just can't imagine doing that to someone you love. And like I've talked with my wife, I'll be done in a sec. Like I've talked with my wife and like she's talked with me. For one, I would never dabble or put myself in any situation, but if it ever got to that point, no, dude, there's no men in that relationship, and not 9 times out of 10, but stronger times out of 10, those relationships never work out. You've lost the trust because someone has stepped outside of the relationship.
Well, and I'm not disagreeing with anything you say, but my counterpoint to you is, because that's not our topic, and we'll get back on.
It kind of is.
Well, it kind of is, but this is what I want to say to that.
I've kept my mouth shut the whole time.
Well, I know. I've been trying to throw it to you, but
you haven't pointed to me yet.
But I know you and I know your wife, and you guys work really hard on that. If that happened, it'd be a different story. But I'm talking about your weak ass guy who's a fucking pushover, who does not work hard on his relationship, who's never there, who does not give his wife the time of day. When his wife says, I want to go do something, honey, will you go do this with me? He's like, no, I'm fucking tired. I don't want to do that. He drinks too much. He's fat, and he gives no effort. He goes to work and he gets a paycheck, and that's it. And he's not present in that relationship at all. And his wife sneaks off because she just wants love. That guy has to look in the mirror, and he can do the whole, you know what, we're through, blah, 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 you ruined my trust, this, that, the other. But that guy still, if he looks in the mirror and says, you know what, I have been a shitbag husband, and for far too long, I have been a shitty human being, a weak dude. Again, my thing about weak men are the reason that we're falling in society. I'm talking about a weak dude who does not give any effort to his relationship and pays his wife no mind at all. Sometimes that is a wake-up call to say, I've got to do better. And I know people, several people, that this has happened to, and it turned the dude's life around. And sometimes it's the dude cheating on the wife, and then him getting caught and him going, fuck, I'm a shitty human being. And I know somebody personally that happened, cheated on his wife, and it led him down such a bad spiral. Then, they tried to mend it. They said, we're going to make this work. Led him down such a bad spiral. He tried to kill himself. And he attempted, and he had to be in the hospital for a couple weeks. It was so bad. He got out, and they have a great relationship now because he looked in the mirror. But first he went down that bad spiral of, I'm a shitty person. I'm a shitty person. I'm a shitty person. He just kept saying that over and over and over. And that's why he tried to kill himself. And that's not right either. But finally it took that attempt, and everybody's saying, look, man, we still love you, but don't try to kill yourself. Just try to make yourself a better person. And that's what he's done. So it's a hard balance there, and on that specific example. But what I'm saying is, you have the power to change the course. So he took it and he said, man, I'm going to be a loving husband, and I'm going to earn my wife's trust back. And he changed his life around. He changed the way he was working, the hours he was working. He was traveling a lot for work, and he changed that. He changed a lot of things to become a better person because of it. And that's what I'm talking about. Now, and again, I get your point too. But you and your wife have a good relationship that you work at and you try at.
Well, hopefully the spouse, husband or wife, before it got to the cheating side of things, would have that conversation that I'm stepping out. But they tell you the best time to look for a job is when you already have one. So they might. No, hey, every situation is different. And to revert back a little bit, when you started talking about mental health with everybody, we all deal with our own things, man. And I think it is manly to a point to be able to, you don't have to purge out every single little item that bothers you. You can suck it up, keep it in. It will make you stronger. But if shit gets to a point to where it starts really grinding at you, it kind of reminds me, I've talked to you before about a pressure relief valve out at work. That pressure relief valve, it's there to, at least where I'm at, to protect a tank or a pipeline. If the pressure gets too high, that thing will pop off, and it'll relieve the pressure, relieve. That way it doesn't overpressure the system and have a catastrophic event. The same with men's health. If we're dealing with things and it gets tough, have a realistic look at yourself. Yeah, have an optimistic view, because I'm Mr. Optimistic. But then again, you've got to be real too. You can be optimistic. You can have glass half full mentality, but you have to be realistic about the situation that you're in. But if you need help, if it does get to that point, if you can't talk with your spouse, or if you aren't married, find that friend, find someone that you can entrust to purge and get it out of your system. I heard an analogy one time. I don't know if I talked to you about this before, but talks about if you're carrying stress around, this is, mental health wise, and this one thing suicide wise, I know you mentioned those suicide numbers, but I'm talking about also going off the rails, just doing something crazy that harms other people.
Yeah.
Not only yourself, but just, it's just not good for society in general.
Right.
If you're dealing with things, and let's say it's not that big a deal. Oh fuck, I gotta pay my damn gas bill. They just gave me a 60-day notice. I'm 2 months behind. Okay. It's like a little brick that you put in your little backpack that you're carrying around. That's just a little brick. No big deal. Next thing you know, the creditors are calling and you're behind on your 29.6 APR rate on these 3 credit cards. Next thing you know, you're getting letters in the mail that shit's going to start getting garnished. And this stuff just slowly adds up. You get some bad news over here, your dog, just all this stuff. And each little bad news that comes is a little brick that starts weighing heavier and heavier that you're putting on your backpack. Next thing you know, you're carrying around 200 pounds of bricks, and it's weighing you the hell down.
Yeah.
You got to start attacking them bricks, whether it's, you could talk about it, one thing, you can reach out to someone, and this has to do with mental health and stress. This is what I'm getting at. You can talk and purge, but then also you got to start addressing them bricks. You got to start addressing them situations to where, talked about it before, but find the lightest brick, the lightest brick in there, something you can easily address right now that you can check mark off, you can highlight off of your deal. Address that brick, and then next thing you know, that thing's a little lighter. Address 2 or 3 or more of them bricks. Next thing you know, you've built momentum. You keep doing that momentum until you get all that stuff off of your back, and hopefully you get to a point to where you're back to a state to where, just physically and mentally, you're a hell of a lot better than you were.
Yeah. So whenever I was in the Boy Scouts, we learned this acronym of, if you ever get lost in the wilderness, I think it applies well here. It's the STOP acronym. You ever heard of the STOP acronym?
No, but I can imagine.
Yeah. So it's stop is the S. Stop what you're doing. Okay. Especially whenever it's all piling on, sometimes you just have to take a second. Now, that doesn't mean quit your job, move out, go. I'm just saying stop for a second. Okay? Think. Logically think. Where am I at? How did I get here? What is the reason I'm here? Okay? Think. Observe. What's surrounding me? What are the issues? Plan. Make a plan. So whenever you get so overwhelmed in this stuff, and I have to do this a lot because, I have a high stress job. I own real estate, which is at times very stressful. And I'm involved in other stuff. Sometimes I just have to stop. I just have to take a couple hours to not do a side job, or a couple hours to not work on the Dirty and Driven project, or I just have to stop what I'm doing and say, okay, I need to think about what's going on right now. I need to see what I can do, and I need to plan. And then it's like you're saying, start with the easiest. So it's like Dave Ramsey has the whole snowball effect. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
You take
it's called the debt snowball.
Yeah, the debt snowball.
I've heard him.
Yeah, a lot of people
He doesn't believe in people getting help from banks
Well-
to get into houses. Like, dude, but
It's an easy
he's got
kill.
a couple more billions. than I
Pump the
do.
brakes. Pump the brakes. But you know, you hear about the debt snowball, and I know people that has helped them tremendously. So what that is take your smallest bill, pay it off at, you know, quit going to Starbucks or don't go to the movie this month, pay an extra $20 a month on that bill. Okay, now that one's knocked out. And then now you've got that bill paid off and you're paying the minimum, and then you upped it $20. Well, now you take what you're paying on that bill, put it in the next bill, and so on and so forth. It's kind of the same thing with mental health. You just say, what's my problem? Okay, I'm really depressed because I'm 50 pounds overweight. I hate my job. My boss sucks. I'm $40,000 in debt on a truck that I should have never bought. And I'm single, lonely, and hate it. And I work all the time. Okay, well, how do we fix that stuff? Okay. Let's start making a few healthy swaps in our lunch boxes. Let's stop eating out every day. Save money. Get healthier. Let's start going somewhere that we can meet a nice girl. Let's find a different job if we can. Let's see if we can find something where maybe we have a better company to work for, better opportunities. Let's sell the truck and buy something cheaper. You just observe and you plan and you do what makes sense for you.
I think a lot of us
And talk to people about that to make that plan. Get outside opinions on that. Go ahead.
I think I'm happy where I'm at, but for those who struggle, because I've been there before, not extremely bad. I mean, that's subjective, but when you're in situations, I think a lot of us are not ignorant whatsoever. We know the right thing to do.
Yes, that's a good point.
We know the right thing to do. We need to get rid of that damn truck that's still upside down and still owe $40,000. Sell it for a loss. Get into something economical. Start chipping back away. We know to start eating we know the right things to do, but I struggle with it too. I mean, but to get the momentum to just start putting one foot in front of the other and start doing just small little incremental deals, not be overwhelmed by the finish or somewhat of the finish line. But if we can just start chipping slowly away and creating that momentum, you know, we know what to do. You know, earlier you're talking about
create small wins.
Small wins, yeah. And then the small wins, you know, over you know, a span add up to something monumental. And you're talking earlier about you know, men since it's the awareness month, being worried, man. Worried man. There's a song, you ought to hear it, man. It's great. I ain't shitting you, dude. I do a lot of, not a knowledge, I don't know what the hell it is, but it's references the stuff that hit home to me.
Yeah.
And there's a song, I don't know who originally did it, but it's I think it's Johnny Cash. But Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson had this song on Storytellers they both sing. And Johnny talks about it, so I'm pretty sure he's the one who wrote it.
Yeah.
But it goes, worried man, Papa is a worried man. Hungry babies don't understand, Papa is a worried man. Then the first verse goes, the place I used to draw my pay, close the doors on me today. Papa is a worried man, worried. So that whole song talks about, you know, here it is, a guy that's trying to be strong, alpha, you know, take care of his family, provide for them. And little does anybody around him know in his family that he's dealing with all these, not demons, but a lot of these roadblocks that are kind of slowing and hanging him up. And it's an internal struggle that he's dealing with.
Yes.
Man, and I think that's a good analogy. And another deal I was thinking of when you were talking about, just be the funny guy and get the likes on Facebook. And that reminded me of, you know, remember Chris Farley?
Yeah.
Probably at least in my lifetime, probably one of the top 3 best comedians ever.
Yeah.
And he was a real physical comic, but just a hilarious dude in general.
Yeah.
Well, not towards his last days, but if you watch some documentaries on, you know, the life and death of Chris Farley, all of his friends said that they would talk about how Chris, whether he'd be, you know, inebriated, high on whatever it is, he would call his friends up at 12, midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and he'd be kind of crying and stuff. And this is like with David Spade and some of those guys. And hey man, what's up, Chris? And he'd just be by himself, be alone, but he'd be crying and ask, am I funny enough? Do people like me, man? So I think he would hide. This is just me from an outsider looking in. I think he would hide a lot of the shit that he was dealing with just being the funniest guy in the room.
Well, yeah.
Instead of, hopefully getting some help, and hopefully he would have got some help, because man, he was the best.
Yeah, he killed himself, didn't he?
I don't know if he killed himself, but I think he OD'd. I think it was one of those deals. He really.
Robin Williams was the same way.
But I think he really looked up to Belushi, and Belushi died of no overdose also. And it was one of those. I'm going to be like a, live fast, live hard.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get a lot of guys like that. Kurt Cobain, it's terrible, and you'll get those guys. They're seemingly got the greatest life in the world. They look like they have it all together. And that's my biggest struggle too, man, is imposter syndrome. Okay. Every time I accomplish something, I do something. Last time in my real estate business, I closed on 2 houses in one day. And I shouldn't have been able to buy those 2 houses, but thankfully from other investments and other things, I was able to get the money to buy them, get financing to do it. Shouldn't have been able to buy them, but I did, and I pulled it off. My wife and I pulled it off, I should say. We both teamwork. I signed those, happy that I could be at closing. Hell yeah, dude. Just grew this real estate a lot. As soon as I got in my truck after closing on those, I started crying. But it wasn't tears of joy. Like, I got depressed, dude. And I was depressed for probably a week and a half. I'm talking zero emotion. I was not there for, at the time, my bride-to-be. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I didn't want to go to work. I dreaded everything, dude, because why the hell am I supposed to have this? Why the hell do I get this? I've done the same thing multiple times, man. People hit me up on this podcast. They're like, hey, man, I love the show. We love what you're doing. This is going to be a huge show. You're going to do great things. I love what you're doing for the blue-collar industry. It's awesome, dude. And I appreciate those messages more than people could ever understand. But still, dude, you read that and you're like, why? Why do I deserve this? And you start thinking, man, am I good enough? And especially like when you're first starting out, you're like, man, is this, you're just, when you're first starting out, you expect not to get much hits and stuff like that. And people aren't listening. You got to grow. You got to make yourself known. You got to get yourself out there. But it's like, as you grow, you start to think like, do people actually like this shit? Or people listening because they feel bad for me? Like that's the stuff that comes through my mind. And like I was telling you about before we started, and I'll kind of tell this story and then make one last point and end on it. I dealt with this hard yesterday even. I was in such a bad spot because just, last week we spoke about side hustles. And like I've said several times already, real estate's my side hustle. And I've got 2 short-term rentals, like an Airbnb type house. Well, dude, my nightmare came true. I forgot to send the PIN code to a guest Thursday when they were supposed to check in. Well, they didn't come in till 1 a.m, and I forgot to send it to them. So they're calling me, and I'm asleep. I don't see it till the next morning. So those people weren't able to check in because they came in real late. And, dude, they fucking slept in their car that night because they couldn't find a hotel because everything in town was sold out. And I cannot tell you, because that's not how I do business. And I made it right with them. Me and them we're friends now because of like, I went above and beyond to help them, which back to last week on your side hustles, man, be there for your customers. But after that happens, dude, that whole day, my brain's just fogged up, especially before, like whenever I was texting, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Please call me as soon as you can. I didn't want to wake them up that morning because I was up at 5 and I was like, they're probably sleeping. They probably found somewhere. But yeah. And I was really struggling that morning. I was like, dude, I am a fuck up. How do I expect to run these businesses and do all this stuff? I can't even send somebody a damn PIN code. And it was tough for me. And this is where kind of like my next point. If you're a buddy, dude, hit your people up every now and then, because I don't know what it was, but I had 2 friends hit me up out of the blue that I haven't talked to in a while. And they're like, hey man, what's up? How you doing? Just want to say I've listened to your last couple shows even, and really, really loving the stuff lately. 2 friends. And it's like, dang, dude, and that perks you right up. But man, whenever you make those fuck ups, it's hard, especially if you're a business owner. You're like, dude, I shouldn't be in this spot.
Well, you do. You feel that way because you care.
Yeah.
If you didn't care, if you didn't have any emotions for not getting, I could do the flip side. Well, they could have messaged even earlier and hey man, what's the pin? We're going to be in. There's 2 sides of that deal too. Obviously, you care, and I guarantee you, I ain't going to say never, but that'll never happen again with you. No. And that's how we learn from. It doesn't make you a bad person, no. And you all were on the amends. And the same deal yesterday, dude. This one house, this one rental, I let these renters know that, hey, if y'all ever need anything, if you can't get a hold of the landlord, reach out to me because they're going to probably reach out to me anyway. Well, the dude reached out and said, hey, dude, I hate to bother you, but the AC isn't working again. It's frozen up. I reach out to, our go-to man. Well, he happened to be out of town. And this was yesterday, dude, at 4:30 in the afternoon. I was just getting off from the pipeline job, and I had plans to go look at a spray job and then go home and cook. Mm-hmm. And this guy doesn't have air conditioning. It's already 90-some degrees out, and he's got a daughter living with him. So what do? Since the HVAC guy can't go and all the HVAC places are busy, this is eating at me, dude. And I'm the subcontractor. I'm just the maintenance guy, but it's eating at me because I care. What do? After I go look at that job and find out his stuff is still frozen, not working, I said, hey, dude, I'll be there in 20 minutes. He said, dude, he goes, you don't have, I go, no, man, let's figure it out. We went there. Luckily we got the thing thawed out. We had the fan running and we got it kicked back on, but we had a plan in place to at least put in a window unit. I had a couple portable units we could have put in. I had a plan set, and he was super cool. He just was so adamant that I even cared to stop by.
Yeah.
But that type of stuff right there. Now, mental health, yeah, this is for one I care, but this could have been just one of them little bricks along with other stuff, man, that could add up if you don't at least reach out, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Reaching out makes a big difference. And so if you are a friend, reach out to people every now and then. And I'm not saying like, hey man, how's your mental health? Just hit your buddies up every now and then. Call them up. Like I have my 4 best friends that I've pretty much had my whole life. We don't talk that much. I mean, some of them I talk to like maybe 2-3 times a year, but they're still my best friends. Every now and then I just give them a call or they give me a call and we just talk for a little while and blow off steam and it's a good time.
Well, and another deal too is, the people, whether it's your friends or family or whoever, each other's quirks. You know how each other acts. If something's off. I mean, they might put on a good facade, but there might be something behind the old veil. Exact instance. I hadn't talked to you for 2 days. 2 or 3 days. Remember that? A month ago?
Yeah.
And I was kind of bullshitting, but I was like,
this is when James, I got sick.
I said, hey, James, dude, you all right? I haven't heard from you in a couple. I was just being a smart ass.
Casey and I text more than my wife and I text just to put that out there.
But I was serious. But I was doing the old smart ass.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, dude, I'm horrible sick. I had to go to I go, oh, shit. So what I'm getting at is that is a perfect example of, I know if I don't hear from James in a day or 2, then something's up. The same as, if you only talk to your friend every week or every 2 months and they have a different tone of voice or, speaking faster, or just a bunch of crap, what's right and what's wrong when people are off, man. Yeah. Be there for others as they should be for you. And one other deal, put the mask on when you're on the airplane. You got to save yourself before you can save others. Meaning,
that mask.
Meaning, I don't want to disappoint my wife. That's the biggest fear I ever have. I'm getting teary-eyed. That's the biggest fear I have is disappointing my wife.
Yeah.
And my grandson that lives with us, and then my friends around me, you and my family around me. I don't want to be a disappointment. And the best way to not be a disappointment is, not only do you not want to disappoint them, but you got to take care of yourself first before you can disappoint. So you have to take care of yourself first
100%.
Before you can take care of others.
Yes. And that's something that I was talking to a guy, one of our listeners, he hit me up that day yesterday when I was having a bad time. And he goes, I told him, I was like, he's like, hey man, blah, blah, blah. I've just said some stuff about the show and I really appreciate it. And I said, man, I needed this today. I said, seriously, I said, I've had such a shitty start to my day. It's been tough. And he goes, hey, I get it, dude. And he said, also a guy like you, he said, I can tell you take on a lot of other people's shit and you're that guy for people. And he goes, that is hard. And he said, take care of yourself, man. And that is whenever I hit my deepest point of depression, I was 19, 20 years old, bad. I was fat, out of shape, lazy, doing bad in school. My relationship with Victoria wasn't doing too great at the time. Overall, I hated my life. It sucked. And it was one of the first kind of wake-up calls I had. But what had happened is I was taking on everybody else's problems. My boss had problems at work. Dude, I was the guy. I was the top employee. And I wanted to be. And I remained that. But I'd hear Victoria's problems. My best friend that was living with me since almost birth, he was in a real bad slump, downward spiral slump. Dude hadn't been sober for God knows how long. Just would wake up, smoke pot all day long, smoke pot before he went to bed. And like I was there for him, always trying to help him through his problems, trying to help Victoria through some life problems she had right then. Meanwhile, I had my own life problems and my brother's hit me up about his own problems and my parents are hitting me up about their problems. And I'm everybody's go-to and I want to be that for people, but I wasn't taking care of it myself and I was bottling up my own shit and I was too afraid to talk to any of them about the shit that I had going on. And that was tough, man, because it's like I can't talk to these people. I can't show that I have weaknesses or cracks because they rely on me. But that's wrong. And finally, it just all came out one night, and I just blew up. And man, at that time too, I was dipping and smoking and like doing vaping a lot, stuff like that. Drinking every night, bad things. And I was in all ways, shapes. I was the total polar opposite of what I am now. I look at that James then. I see pictures of myself back then. I'm like, that dude was a bitch. But I was too afraid to ask for help. I wanted to handle it all myself. I wanted to be the guy that could handle everyone's problems. And that doesn't work out for you. I promise. It wears on you. You have to get that out. And Casey, I know you got to go, man. If you wanna skedaddle, I can finish up.
It's all good.
I just got like one last thing that I want to say. I just want to say, like, if you're in that slump, and if you're that guy, look, dude, I just want to say, take a day, take 2 days to yourself. If you got to take a day because you're literally so depressed you can't get out of bed, take a day. If you got to take 2 days because you're so depressed you can't get out of bed, take 2 days. If you're so depressed that you have to take a day, that you need to take 3 days, take 3 days. But dude, do not go past 3 days. Get back up. Get back on your feet. Force yourself to just move, eat, do something. Find someone to talk to. And here's how you do that. Okay, everybody says talk to somebody. Maybe you don't have any fucking friends. Maybe you don't have anybody you trust. Maybe you don't have a trusted parent, family, loved one. Okay, here's a couple options. One, you can call or text 988 and you can speak to a certified therapist. Okay, that's option number one. If you are religious or willing to give it a try, go to a church. Find a church home that works for you. Talk to a pastor. If not, go to a therapist or go to a therapist even if you are religious. Talk to a therapist. Get it out. If none of those options work for you, man, I don't even care. Hire a fucking prostitute and instead of fucking them, then just tell them about your problems. Just find someone who will listen to you, man. That helps a lot. And I'm not saying emotionally dump on people because people do that shit too, and that doesn't help. That's just playing the victim. Don't be the fucking victim. I hate victim mentality. If you can't take your stuff, get it under control, or even if it's not under control, but control what you can, don't be a victim. I get so tired of people just always dumping like, oh, this happened to me, that happened to me, I can't believe this. But you see them a year, 2 years, 5 years later, and they're doing the same thing. Yeah,
you got to get yourself out of them situations. You got you got to trim the fat. There's a time at the beginning of my wife and I's marriage, man, to where we were dealing with everybody else's problems, and it started affecting her and I's relationship. And it was nothing but drama, and we were always absorbing it, man. But once we finally started trimming that fat and getting that drama out of our lives, we could focus on her and I and our immediate niche family and friends. And ever since we started trimming that fat, man, it's been nothing but great. Not just try to surround yourself with good, like-minded people.
Yeah, man. That's all, man. That's just good stuff. Get out of them slumps, dude. Don't be the victim. And just remember that you are not the story that you're given. You're the story that you make. I want to end that on an inspiring note that you can change your life. You can do whatever you need to do, and you can make it more optimistic. If somebody tells you that you are this, don't let them put you in a box, dude.
And consider the source. If people are dogging you, talking shit on you, man, look at where it's coming from. If people that I aspire, people that I like, that I look up to are dogging me, more than likely there's probably some truth to it. But if it's somebody that has nothing going on in their lives, pieces of crap, man, that's just in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, let that in one ear, out the other. But I mean, even if a doctor tells you like, hey, man, I had a doctor tell me 2-3 years ago now, whenever I first started getting help for my back injury, of, well, man, you're just going to have surgery one of these days, and that's it. That's all you can do, and your back's probably never going to be right again. And I walked out of that doctor's office, and I flipped him the bird, and I didn't, figuratively flipped him the bird, and started working on it myself. And I'm doing a lot of things that he said I'd never do again.
Well,
and working on more.
They're human like we all are, but I think a lot of them are in it for financial gain.
Yeah.
That's separate from your health. Yeah. Find you a good doctor, find you a good accountant, find you a good whatever, somebody you can trust. But remember, whenever there's financial gain to be made, they might not be looking out in the best interest for you.
Yeah.
Peace. Time.
If you go to a therapist, just remember that not all therapists are created the same, dude.
Remember, if you read therapist, no, it says the rapist. So.
The rapists.
By God. I gotta go.
All right, see you, dude. I'm gonna make one final point here, guys. I know I said that probably 6 times, but
Not me.
But I just want to say, guys, as far as therapists go, not all of them are great. I've went to a therapist that really sucked. So take it and move forward to the next one. Find one. Go until you can find one that actually works for you, because therapists are humans too, and a lot of them are dealing with their own shit, and they can't handle yours too. Last point I want to make, and this one I'm passionate about. We know what's right or wrong. We know what we should or shouldn't do. You know that if you're already in a deep spiraling depression, you should not be going to the bar every night, drinking every night, smoking weed every night, doing freaking coke every night, sleeping with random people every night. Because whenever you do these things, it makes you feel like shit. The next day you go, why the hell did I do that? But then we find ourselves in these downward spirals, continuing to do it. And that's not good. We keep doing it because we think it's going to make us feel better, but then after the fact we go, why did I do that? So again, control what you can control and limit your alcohol, limit your drug usage, limit your prescription drug usage. That's a big issue in this industry. Limit how much porn you watch, limit the random strangers you're sleeping with. Limit these things that you know are putting you in a bad headspace, and worry about things that you know will help you be in a better headspace. Anyways, guys, I think that that's all I really have to say for now. We're going to speak more on mental health later. I hope you got value out of this episode. If you did, rate it 5 stars. Share it with somebody who might need it. I know it's probably a little more aggressive than your typical sunshine, rainbow mental health thing, but guys, I care about you. I care about the people who listen to this show. Some people hit me up and they say, hey man, the Dirty and Driven community is tight and we care for each other. And we do. You can hit me up. You can hit up any guest we've had on this podcast. You can hit Casey up. You can hit anybody up who's ever been affiliated with this show or with our project. And you can know that they are there for you. And they want to be there for you. Keep that in mind. If you ever need somebody to talk to me. I don't care. I'll talk to you. I will talk to any of you if you need someone, if you have no one else. Even if you do have someone else, but you want to talk to me, do it. If you own a company, if you're responsible for safety talks, if you have that kind of pool, if you have that kind of sway, even if you don't, then suggest it. I'm going to put together a mental health toolbox talk, which I will give the crew that I give a safety meeting to every Monday. And I'm going to post it on Instagram. And it's out there for anybody to use. So if anybody wants it, feel free to use it. I hope it makes a difference. If you do use it and you do open up conversations, hit me up. Sometimes those conversations take a couple weeks. The first one I did, it was probably 2 weeks before somebody came up to me and they said, hey man, I've really been thinking about that and I want to talk to you. And that's what it takes. It just takes opening up the conversation, giving somebody permission to talk. All right, guys. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Go out there, have a killer week, and just know that the demons in your head are bitches. Peace.